Today we're going to take a quick look at Starbound.
Now, can you customize your character in the game?
Yeah, you can do a lot of customization for your character throughout the game here. I will actually go back up to my ship and I'll show you some of the things you can do. So in my ship, I've put down some crafting benches and things like that to work with, and I've gathered quite a few materials already because we've been playing this character for a couple hours now. And once you gather your different ores and smelt them down, you get them back into bars, gold bars, copper bars, silver bars, steel bars, or iron bars, whatever you have. And then you can either go over to the crafting bench and you can make certain things here, not so much for your character aside from a couple weapons and tools, but you can also go over to the anvil and you can start actually making certain weapons, more tools again, and actual armor for yourself, which I actually don't have enough for right now.
Why would you want to improve like your tools or your weapons or anything like that?
Well, the goal in the game is if you really want, you can stay with the basic tools that you have at the start, but it's not nearly as exciting as getting further in the game and upgrading your equipment. When you upgrade your equipment, you can either dig faster. Like right now, I'm using a copper pickaxe and it allows me to dig into the ground faster than if I'm using the starter tool, which is this funky little device. It does a 4x4 area, but it takes quite a bit more time to actually dig up just like the basic dirt like this is. And then when you get your more advanced weapons, whether you find them or craft them, you can deal more damage. They do special effects, like this one shoots out this big lightning ball. And there's a whole lot of other different weapons and tools and things out there for you to find or either make.
Now, I noticed that you guys have some quick slots up on the top right there. And how does that work exactly? Can you just assign whatever you want to them, or?
Yeah, so that's your hotbar up at the top. That's where you would put your tools and stuff that you want to use on a regular basis. So for me, I have my mining pick, and then I have my weapon and so on. Like I have a pistol there that I found as well. And you can drag and drop really. Like I can drag things out and I can put other things up there and I can switch it around. So I've got food up there, all the things that I need regularly I can take with me instead of having to open up my actual inventory and look through it when I actually have too much stuff.
How does your inventory work? Like, does it fill up completely, or, I mean, can you combine things within your inventory?
So there is item stacks for certain things, like the dirt here. You can see this dry sand, it stacks up quite a bit higher than what some of the other items might do, but yeah, your inventory does fill up fairly quick. If you've been playing for a while and you don't pay attention, you'll come back all of a sudden and realize, oh crap, my inventory is full.
Now, currently, is this a single player or multiplayer type game?
There is multiplayer. I haven't done it myself yet, but according to Chucklefish, they have tried to design it in a way that is very beneficial to servers. You can play with just your friends, so if you have 2, 3, or 4 people that you want to play with regularly, you can do a server like that. Or they say that you can have any size server you want, so potentially if you can forward a 1,000-person server, you can have 1,000-person or 1,000 people playing in one game, which could be a lot of fun, or it could be fairly ridiculous at the same time.
Alright, let's try to nail down some of the pros and cons of this game.
So, pros for me anyways, now this is my opinion and it differs for a lot of people, but the art style, there's a lot of people that are getting tired of so many games coming out lately where it's in this 8-bit, 16-bit style graphics where it's kind of cartoony. I like it. I'm a fan of it because I used to play Super Nintendo and Nintendo games, but some people are tired of it. Some of the other cons potentially for this game is that it is a sandbox game, so you can get lost a little bit, but at the same time that's a good thing too. Getting lost in a game is sometimes a good thing.
Are you limited to just one character?
You have 4 character slots, but one character is open to the one type of game world. So
Okay, so
there,
each character has their own story, basically.
yeah, more or less, it's their own story. It's their own life. You won't see your own character running around. There is different types of game modes. You can do a more hardcore mode where you only have one life. For me, I'm not really interested in that whole one life and the game's over sort of thing, because I find you can, at least at the start, die fairly easily in this game. Like you just saw there, I wasn't paying attention to my health, and I died from one shot from that robot. But you do find interesting things that help your character out quite a bit. Like, I didn't even realize I had this rifle, and it is an amazing weapon already.
Do we know how many different types of weapons there are in the actual game?
I'm not sure what there is exactly, but there's a lot. Like, if you're looking for some variety in a game, this has a ton of variety for whatever you want to do. There's different style weapons, and there's different effects that can be added to them, where there's like a lightning type damage like this thing does, or there's fire weapons, and there's poison damage. It's like an RPG. There's all the different elements in it that can be stacked on top of things and just keep it fresh and exciting.
Well, this definitely looks like something we need to keep our eyes on, as it's still only in the rough release. Hopefully when it gets released completely, it'll be even more fun to play.
Yeah, when they actually add a bit more of a story and quest system to this game, I actually think it has quite a bit of potential for that side of things as well, because there's so many different planets you can go to. I'll actually show you that now too. Just the travel system is pretty crazy on its own. So your ship is how you get around. You fuel it up with coal, and I think there's some other types of fuel, but I haven't seen them yet. I think you can make actual fuel cells. But what you do is you fuel up your ship, and it has its own fuel capacity. Then you hop in your little captain's chair here, and you can actually go around to the different planets. And while that's happening, you can just go back in your ship and start working on things that you need to, like smelting more ores, and let your ship do all the actual dirty work. But there is so many different planets out there. It is like you can potentially play this game forever and just keep finding more and more planets. Also, when you are playing, you get to different stages where you actually get to a higher difficulty, and the planets themselves become harder. You can go back and forth too between the different types. You can go back to the easier areas, you can go forward to harder areas. So if you haven't gotten the right equipment to actually fight in the harder area yet, but you've beaten the boss, you can go back and gather more materials where it's easier for yourself and come back when you're ready for it. So this is a planet I haven't actually been to yet, but it's a desert planet. There's jungle planets, there's ice planets, there's a lot out there for somebody who just likes sitting down, exploring, and relaxing. You can lose track of time fairly quickly in a game like this.
Really cool. It kind of reminds me of Commander Keen, and I don't know if many people will remember that or not, but very side-scrolly, weird jumping, kind of jumping and moving sideways.
I remember Commander Keen and the old Duke Nukem games. Those were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But overall, the big goal is to actually find your resources, upgrade yourself so you can go to those harder and possibly fancier areas where there's harder stuff to find and see what's actually out there. Again, it's a big part of exploring and seeing what's out in the universe.
Now, if you wanted to, could you just pretty much dig endlessly through a level?
You can go quite a ways down into the earth. I haven't actually taken the time to see how far down it actually goes, but I got lost in a cave once and it took me a while to dig out. Some planets are easier for digging too, like these desert planets. When you get into the sand goes away or falls very quickly, so you can dig down a lot quicker, but it also has a chance of trapping you down there.
Ooh.
There is a currency system in this game as well. They're called pixels. When you die, you lose 50% of your pixels. So early on it's not so bad, but later on in the game when you actually need your pixels to craft some of the bigger, more expensive items, you need to be careful about where you're going and what you're doing.
How do you go about like replenishing your health in the game?
You can craft medical packs. You can find stim packs just from like StarCraft style thing, a syringe that you inject in yourself. You regenerate health that way, or you can go to a bed and stay there for a while, and it actually regenerates your health there too. I hope you guys enjoyed checking out Starbound, and be sure to check out the rest of our upcoming videos.